Good day everybody, it's Crazy from No Limits Bushcraft and Survival, and what a mess that was. So that was just an example of bad admin in camp. So this video is just going to be little tips and tricks on how to keep your camp nice and tidy and most of all, safe. Stay tuned. Who's ever seen this before? Yes, they're great for Instagram, Facebook posts, YouTube video fillers, but realistically, they're unsafe. Now, once you've finished using your saw, make sure you always clean out the teeth, and then you just need to simply just put it away, fold it back in because of the fact that it's now safe. So now I've finished with my axe, it's now going to go straight in the sheath, which I've always got right next to it, so I can just put it straight in, and it's now safe. As soon as I'm finished with that knife, I'm taking control of it, I'm watching where it's going into the sheath and how it is safe. If we're working on a stump, which I have in front of us here, and we're using an axe, saw, knife, whatever it may be, yeah, you're more than likely just going to have a whack it straight in there and then leave it like this. What that does, there's a lot of moisture in these still, especially if it's just one that you found in the woods. Okay, the fact that these are metal, the fact that this knife here is carbon steel, and carbon steel reacts with the moisture that is in the ground, on the ground and in the wood if it hasn't been dried out properly, and then it will then cause it to rust. And if you haven't got your maintenance kit or whatever it may be, okay, just make sure you always dry it off when you use it. However, we don't want to be sticking it in just like I've shown you. It's going to reduce that fact that someone may be injured, and the fact that when we're using tools we always need our first kit always on hand. If we're not using any of our gear, you put it away in your kit, so whether it be a Bergen day sack or a haversack, whatever it may be. Just get it out of the way, and then at least you know exactly where it is then. The amount of times I've known people to put things down and then lose them. So for example, with our students, for example, when they're not experienced, they have a tendency to put them on the ground, and then if they've not got a piece of kit that is bright, so like orange or red, if it's something like that subdued colour like browns and greens, they have a tendency to camouflage in, and then once they've lost that line of sight, they're gone, they've lost them. So top tip for you is get a tool tree. What that allows your compass to do is the fact that it's now off the ground. Yeah, it's, you know exactly where it is, they're all in one place. Like I say, I've got everything on paracord, it's just so I can actually utilise these. If you can't put a arbonite up, then just use just a snap twig or a broken limb that you can use. This is right next to my bed space, so I know exactly where it is, so every time I finish it goes back up there, and then if it's going to rain, I'll just put it straight back in my kit to keep it waterproof. When it comes to sleeping, I always have a sleeping bag and a bivy bag, and I will use anything else that I've got as a pillow, like me day sack. Now, if I'm up in the morning, or if I'm in an area that I'm going to be here for a few days, I may not want to put my kit away. I might just want to leave my bed made. So my suggestion is that you make your bed, but then secure it to stop anything from getting inside of it. We always take snacks in with us regardless of what it is, but snacks normally come with some form of rubbish. So if you've finished and you've consumed it and you've finished it, get that rubbish in your kit ready to take out with you, because the fact that we always don't leave anything behind, and we don't want to be littering in the woods. Yeah. Good safety plan for it as well is if you're not using it, just get it in your kit. Okay, don't leave it lying around, especially if it's perishable or it can be contaminated quite easily. If it's left on the floor, things like slugs can go all over them, and we don't want to be eating slug slime. And then if it's, especially at night time, just get it away. If you've brought boiling the bags, or there's food carcasses from a chicken or leftovers of food, make sure you dispose of it correctly, because the fact that if it's left over, you're going to start attracting any form of critters, furry things, and especially your little snacks and things like that. They'll have a tendency to start trying to rob them. Squirrels, for example, will always rummage through things like trail mix because of the fact that it's got nuts and berries. We don't want to be attracting the wildlife into our camp. So once you've done with it, get it in your bag. Once you've finished processing your wood, you chop it with the axe. Okay, get it away as soon as you can, stack it up so it allows it to dry off. Okay, the only time you should really have your wood out is if you're actually using it on the fire, or if it's around the fire drying off. So once all this is done, stack it up, potentially in a waterproof place. As water is such an important commodity, make sure that once you've finished taking a drink, it goes back on top. If you've had to bring water with you because there's no natural water source around, you're limited to what you've actually brought out with you. So the last thing you want to do is kick it over or not tighten it up properly and it's leaked out because it's been kicked over. That's a lot of water gone. Okay? You need to make food, you need to drink it to stay hydrated, or make food. So get it away, pack it up, and then if you've had to get a natural water source, you've had to filter it, you've had to boil it, that's a lot of energy, a lot of resources that you buy in terms of firewood, and if you've kicked that over, it's all gone to waste. Things such as like your tripods with your pot hangers on it, if it's not being used, don't leave it over the fire. If it's green wood, it'll eventually dry out. If your fire's hot and it's not green wood and it's already seasoned, it will heat up and potentially combust. So once it's done, move it out of the way, put it somewhere safe. It's not a trip hazard and it's not going to get destroyed. So there you have it, some tips and tricks to keep your camp tidy and most importantly safe. So there's no trip hazards around, you're not going to potentially slice yourself because you haven't seen an active blade. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Northern Limits, Bushcraft and Survival. We're also on Instagram, and then don't forget to check us out on Facebook as well. Till next time.